My younger sister, Linda, was expecting a baby. Sadly, the little one had a condition the doctors called birdhead syndrome. As her doctor, I felt I had to suggest ending the pregnancy. After the procedure, she went home and told her husband, Mark, "My sister killed our baby." Mark, who looked a lot like me with a face suited for movies, became enraged. That very same day, I discovered I was pregnant too. Full of anger, Mark pushed me down the flight of stairs. As I lay there dying, my sister Linda shouted that I had just tripped. She was busy making excuses for him instead of calling an ambulance. Both my baby and I died. Then I woke up. It was the day of Linda's ultrasound again. I saw her watery eyes as she asked me what to do. I just smiled. "Why ask me? Ask your husband, Mark," I replied. Linda looked shocked. "But you're the doctor, Sarah. Mark isn't," she protested. Inside, I felt a cold satisfaction. "Ah, so now you remember I'm the doctor and he isn't." In my previous life, I'd warned Linda, even before she got pregnant, that this condition ran in families and could be passed down. She ignored me and got pregnant anyway. Then she came to me upset, asking how it happened even though she used protection. Am I just really fertile, sis? I'm already pregnant now. I want to take the chance. You'll help me, won't you? Once she decided, all I could do was tell her to come for regular checkups to watch the baby's development. Sadly, the news wasn't good. A test on the fluid around the baby showed a problem on chromosome 8. The ultrasound clearly showed the baby's face looked very similar to Linda's. But Linda was happy. She grabbed my hand, talking excitedly. "Sis, he looks just like me, like a little version of me. We both have this special bird-like look. Do you think he could be an actor and earn lots of money?" I was stunned silent for a moment. Then, I carefully explained that the baby had facial differences and likely other developmental problems too. I even called everyone I knew to get a top genetics professor involved. The professor suggested Linda and Mark get a special gene test called whole exome sequencing to get clear answers about the baby's health. But Mark got furious. He pointed at the professor and yelled, "Tests, tests, always more tests. The simple ones cost over 2,000. The fluid test was 8,000. Now you want something over 10,000? You doctors probably get money back from these expensive tests like bloodsuckers." The professor was very upset, but Mark stormed out, pulling Linda with him. The next day, Linda came back to me crying. With a sigh, I told her, "Bring Mark, let's do the big gene test. If not, you really need to consider ending the pregnancy." "But the baby is 6 months old. It can move." "I can't give him up," she cried. Even though I wanted to push her more, I stayed professional and calmly repeated the facts about the baby's condition. Finally, crying, Linda agreed to the abortion. I had no idea what disaster would follow that choice. Even though Linda agreed, she regretted it after the surgery. She went home crying to Mark. "My sister killed our baby. He looked just like me. He could have been famous." Mark lost control. While my own husband was away on business, Mark forced his way into my home, drunk. "Why did you kill my child?" he demanded. Because I was Linda's main doctor and had done the abortion, even though I acted only out of medical duty, they blamed me. Mark smashed things in my house. I tried to protect my small baby bump and sneak out to call the police, but he saw me. He looked at me with pure hate. "You're pregnant? Why did my child have to die while you get to have one? How can a cold woman like you be a mother?" Like an angry bull, Mark rushed at me. I tried to defend myself, but my leg suddenly cramped up. In that moment of weakness, he pushed me with all his strength. I tumbled down the stairs. Blood pooled around my legs, and sharp pains shot through my stomach. I thought I heard a baby crying nearby. As I lost consciousness, I saw Linda arrive. She cried out, "Sis, how could you be so clumsy and fall?" Right before death, her first thought wasn't to save me, but to give Mark an excuse. As my life faded, my last thought was, if I get another chance, I'll stay far away from their problems. They can do whatever they want. Just leave me out of it. Amazingly, fate gave me that second chance. Now it felt like history was repeating. But when Linda talked to Mark after the ultrasound this time, he made the same foolish comment. Back when my mom was young, nobody had ultrasounds, and we all turned out fine. How can they tell anything from scans? I bet those machines hurt the baby. My neighbor said hospitals make up problems to get you to pay for expensive tests. Don't believe them. When my mother told me this, I almost laughed out loud. Linda used to brag that Mark went to college, trying to make him seem as smart as me. But who with a college education would say such silly things? Plus, I graduated from a top university, not some basic college like Mark did. The next day, I took time off work to miss Linda's follow-up appointment. I heard later from a coworker that Mark went with her and still caused trouble. What do you mean? My wife and I are perfectly healthy. How can our child have facial problems, be slow, and not grow well? Hearing Mark talk like that, Linda got a bit defensive too. The baby just looks unique. It's a natural actor's face. How dare you call it a facial problem? The expert, sounding as tired as I once felt, tried to explain. Even ignoring the bird-like features, your baby's other growth signs are behind compared to babies of the same age. That's already a sign something is wrong. Mark didn't look worried. He's just a bit small, right? We'll just feed him more when we get home. Linda nodded, agreeing with Mark. Problems with chromosome 8 can cause learning difficulties and slow growth. Some children have trouble speaking, weak immune systems, seizures, and mood problems. The expert pushed them to get the full gene test, but the more he explained, the angrier Mark and Linda looked. In the end, it turned into a loud fight and security had to come. Hearing about all this, I felt glad I had stayed away. Last time, it cost me more than just damage to my office. It cost me my life and my babies. That evening, my mom asked me over for dinner. Of course, Linda and Mark were there too. The mood was tense. I ate quietly while Mark spoke up. I want Linda to have this baby, no matter what. We're not doing any more of those costly tests. Ugly or slow, I'll accept him. He's my blood. If Linda is scared of the hard work after the baby is born, I'll divorce her, keep the child, and make sure she doesn't cause trouble for your family. Linda panicked, grabbed Mark's hand, and looked at him with love. Honey, what are you saying? I'll never divorce you. Feeling slightly sick, I couldn't help but gag. They both stared at me. I calmly said, Sorry, pregnancy hormones. The room went quiet. My mom, understanding what I meant, happily rushed off to make offerings to our ancestors. That left just the three of us. Sarah, you're pregnant too, so you should understand how I feel, Mark said, subtly threatening me. I don't want to hear any more talk about Linda ending the pregnancy. Linda then added sourly, Yes, sis, maybe your situation will be worse than mine. I didn't get why my pregnancy bothered them so much. Besides, who said I would get involved again? You two are the parents. How you raise the child is your decision. I'm just the aunt. I don't have a say. Whatever makes you happy, I said. Honestly, I'm curious to see how things turn out for a pretty wife, an average husband, and a baby with bird-like syndrome. 3 months later, Linda had a baby boy. Even though he was born on time, he was tiny, just 2,300 grams, about 5 lbs. His face was wrinkled and didn't look cute like most newborns. He looked a bit frightening. Mark brushed off worries, blaming Linda's difficult pregnancy for the baby's size. To him, looks didn't matter because he saw his son through dad goggles. The problem was Linda wanted to breastfeed but couldn't produce milk. They had to use formula, but the baby, Leo, was allergic to normal formula. He needed a special, very expensive kind. Linda hadn't worked for a while due to the pregnancy, and Mark worked in a repair shop, not earning much. Half his salary went just for the special formula with nothing left for extra things. Linda wanted to leave Leo with my mom so she could go back to work and ease Mark's financial load, but my mom said no. Linda, your sister is also pregnant, and she has no in-laws to help. I need to look after her. Leaving the baby with my mom would save money, but giving him to Mark's mother would mean paying her living costs. Linda wasn't stupid. She knew which was cheaper, but my mom knew Linda well and didn't give in. Frustrated, Linda confronted me. Sarah, you're so selfish. You can easily afford a babysitter. Why are you taking mom? Her eyes were sunken and she looked exhausted. I sneered. I'm paying mom a salary, 8,000 a month. After my baby arrives, it goes up to 10,000. If you can offer more, I'm sure mom would gladly help you instead. Linda's face turned red with anger. Even though she had less money than me, she was good at making others feel guilty. As the older sister, shouldn't you help me when you see I'm struggling? Why talk about money? I almost laughed. First, your problems are not my fault. Second, my husband and I earn our money through hard work. That's not a reason to guilt trip me. Third, I remember Mark saying if things got too hard, he'd divorce you and keep the child. Maybe you should think about that while the baby is still young. If you're struggling this much already, how will you manage later? She lost her cool completely. She threw every insult she could think of at me, even cursing my unborn baby. Sarah, you're so selfish. Your child will only bring you sorrow. While her insults about me didn't bother me, attacking my baby crossed a line. I slapped her hard across the face. Then I called security to remove her. As she left, she kept cursing, but I didn't care. For every action, there's a reaction. Fair is fair. Without the troublesome pair bothering us this time, my pregnancy went smoothly. A few months later, I gave birth to a healthy, chubby baby girl. My husband was overjoyed, always wanting to show her off online. Among all the nice messages, one comment stood out. It was Linda. What's so great about a daughter? She can't carry on the family name. My husband, never one to back down, replied directly. The old days are over. Sons and daughters are equal now. Linda shot back. Oh, really? A daughter marries and leaves, but a son stays. How is that the same? My husband responded. My daughter is lucky enough that she doesn't have to marry unless she wants to. Worst case, we find a son-in-law to live with us. That's much better than someone's unwanted son with bird-like syndrome. Linda was deeply hurt and started complaining loudly on social media. She and Mark hated anyone saying anything bad about their son's appearance. After our big argument, Linda had her mother-in-law watch Leo. But now, her mother-in-law wanted more money for living costs. Their money situation was tight. Linda and Mark couldn't stand people saying their son Leo looked odd or seemed slow. Leo, unfortunately, like Linda, had the bird-like syndrome and developed slower than other kids his age. He rarely responded, even when people tried to play with him. Linda's family was constantly dealing with gossip, making them very defensive and quick to argue with anyone who mentioned their son. When my husband's comment hit a sore spot, my mom's phone started ringing with angry calls from Mark. After hanging up, my mom told my husband off. Why stir them up? They aren't stable. Shouldn't you be more careful? My husband looked a bit ashamed. Sorry, Mom. I'll watch what I say next time. Our daughter's 1-month celebration was a big party. Although my in-laws had passed away, the rest of the family gave her lots of gold jewelry. My mom couldn't stop smiling. Our little one is such a gift, like a lucky charm. Even during the happy event, Linda tried to spoil the mood. No matter how special she is, she's still just a girl. My husband replied calmly, better than a troubled son who drags everyone down. People will admire us, not feel sorry for us. My husband knew how to win an argument. Hearing this, Mark, who had been ignoring Linda's comments, couldn't hold back. He kicked a chair over and lunged toward my husband with a bottle. Say that again, I dare you. In my own home, someone thought that it could start a fight? I quickly took Mark down with a martial arts throw, leaving him dizzy on the floor. Did they forget I have a black belt in Taekwondo? If I hadn't been pregnant and had that sudden leg cramp last time, this fool wouldn't have caused me so much trouble. I knew them well, they pick on the weak, but back down when faced with strength. After getting knocked down, they stayed quiet, though Linda glared at me hatefully. Halfway through the party, Mark's mother rushed in carrying Leo. Something's wrong with the baby. The child was bright red, shaking uncontrollably with foam coming from his mouth. My heart sank. It looked like epilepsy. With frequent fevers and occasional seizures, Leo scared his grandmother so much that she refused to care for him anymore. Linda then asked my mom for help again. Mom refused once more. Linda tried to find us at my workplace, which was now in a different city but couldn't. My husband had also been promoted there, and my mom moved with us. Unable to find us, Linda and Mark started calling my mom constantly. Eventually, my mom felt bad and answered. Linda cried on the phone, begging, "Mom, if you don't help, they'll push me over the edge." Seeing my mom starting to give in, I quickly took the phone. "Linda, every choice was yours. Don't blame others for your hardship. Mom deserves a peaceful life. Staying with us where money isn't as tight is better for her health than constantly serving you." Linda replied angrily, "Sarah, stop acting so superior. Aren't you also making mom help with your child? My daughter is much easier to care for." "Sarah, you're so selfish. A cold doctor with no basic kindness." Every time I pointed out her mistakes, she reacted like a cornered animal. I put her on speakerphone so my mom could hear her rant. This time, even my mom had heard enough. "Linda, how can you talk to your sister like that?" Linda, lost in her anger, even insulted my mom, suggesting, "When Sarah is done using you and throws you out, don't expect me to take you in." Linda's words deeply hurt my mom. "Why choose a stranger over my own daughter?" she asked, stunned. Her words shocked us all into silence. Realizing she had gone too far, my mom decided to tell Linda everything. It turned out my mom had found Linda as a baby, abandoned because of her bird-like syndrome. Even though Linda looked more typical than her son, Leo, her birth parents still left her. Out of pity, my mom raised her like her own daughter, treating us equally all these years. "Maybe you really did get the foolish and cruel traits from your birth parents," Mom said sadly. "A totally ungrateful child. All these years, you only knew how to take, never give back. So no, I won't help you. Raising you for so long was more than enough. I don't care. You picked me up, so you have to take care of me." Seeing Linda still didn't understand, my mom angrily hung up. I held Mom's shoulders gently, comforting her until she calmed down. Honestly, I always wondered about Linda's background. If she were my real sister, why did she have this facial difference syndrome when I didn't? Plus, our family had no history of it. But Mom never spoke about it, so I didn't push. It turned out I was right, like attracts like. Strong traits are passed down. Fast forward 3 years. My daughter was now in preschool. Relatives told us Linda and Mark were not doing well. As Leo got older, things seemed worse. He was sick often, still couldn't talk, and had a violent temper. Combined with his appearance, he faced discrimination, which only made his anger worse. A child like that needs constant supervision. Linda never went back to work. She stayed home with him full time. Mark carried the whole financial weight, running around stressed. Even so, they spent more than they earned. Recently, Leo got into a fight with another child and pushed him hard. The child hit his head and was still in the hospital's intensive care unit, close to death. That family was influential and demanding a lot of money. Linda and Mark even sold their house to pay, but it wasn't enough. The family threatened to harm Leo. Terrified, Linda and Mark fled with Leo to another city overnight. Hearing this, I felt a strange sense of, "I told you so." It was just like I thought it would be, but I couldn't feel sorry for them. In my past life, I saw this future and did everything I could to prevent Leo's birth. In the end, they weren't grateful, and it cost me and my baby our lives. This time, they got what they wanted. The child was here. You can't just wish him away. Let them handle it. I never expected to see them again the day after hearing the news. While I was at the hospital, Linda rushed past me with her son. I didn't recognize her at first, but she knew me right away. "Sarah, so you work here. Leo's having another seizure, and I can't get him in to see a specialist. Your doctor here. Get me an appointment." I stared at her for a long moment before I could connect this worn-out woman with the Linda I remembered. Before she married Mark, Linda wasn't beautiful, but she tried. She liked dressing up, buying clothes, and using skincare. With some makeup, she looked okay, maybe a 5 out of 10. But after marrying Mark, she stopped wearing makeup and buying clothes. She always said Mark told her makeup was bad for the skin, and clothes were a waste of money. Over time, she looked plainer and messier. Now she had gray hair, wrinkles around her eyes, dull skin, and looked drained of life. Combined with her facial structure, the change was shocking. She was only 30, but looked older than my mom. I honestly thought some grandmother was bringing her grandson to the hospital. Looking at her desperate eyes, I just asked coolly, "Where's Mark?" Linda paused, catching her breath. "He's busy working." I smirked. "So every time the kid is sick, you're the one bringing him in?" Silence. "Are you the one paying his medical bills too?" Back when Linda married Mark, his family was already deep in debt. Mark's father wasn't healthy either, damaging his liver with bad habits. Every year, he ended up in the hospital and Mark had to pay all the bills, even borrowing money. Linda married into that mess only to help pay off debts. She probably even paid for her own pregnancy costs. She likely survived these years using her savings and the wedding money from Mom. Her silence confirmed everything. I was speechless. Being Mark seemed like a great deal. Get no help from parents, have your wife handle everything, father kids without lifting a finger for them. Linda turned bright red but still defended him. "You don't understand. He hasn't had it easy carrying his parents' debts. I have some savings. Helping out is normal in a marriage. Why count every penny?" Oh, a lost cause in love, I see. I ignored her and tried to leave, but she blocked my way, clearly expecting me to help her get that appointment. I chuckled coldly. "Do you want to know what it feels like to be thrown out by security?" That same afternoon, her husband showed up while I was seeing patients. Mark came in swinging a wrench, slamming it onto my desk and scaring everyone. I crossed my arms, calmly watching his outburst. "You upset my wife. Do you know how much she cried?" I shot back. "And you just assume it's my fault? Maybe she's crying about her unhappy life and her useless husband." That hit a nerve. Furious, Mark charged at me with the wrench. Knowing he couldn't win, I gave him a quick kick. Mark fell face first, his teeth hitting the wrench, filling his mouth with blood. Security quickly grabbed him. Watching him struggle like a flipped turtle, I couldn't help but smirk. It was kind of funny. "Let's call the police." Hearing this, Mark started yelling again. "Sarah, what are you doing? What will happen to your sister and your nephew if I go to jail?" I waved dismissively. "She's not even my real sister, didn't she tell you?" Mark stood there, stunned, until security dragged him away to the police station. They held him for causing trouble. He didn't accept it. He pointed to his broken teeth and dried blood, yelling at the police. "What about her? She beat me up like this." The officer remained serious. "That's called self-defense." Linda finally arrived with Leo. Seeing Mark hurt, she immediately started fussing over him. My husband arrived around the same time. He's great at sarcasm. "Well, well, look who it is. My sister-in-law and her husband who finally grew up. Oh man, brother-in-law, who beat you up so bad?" Mark glared at me, furious. "Your perfect wife did this." My husband turned to me, looking very serious. "You messed up, babe." Mark's eyes lit up, thinking my husband would support him. He started exaggerating the story of what I'd done to him, and Linda adding at the end, "You need to control her. A woman shouldn't be in charge. Everyone knows you should keep her in line." He looked at me smugly, sure my husband would scold me. Ha! I had to laugh at his foolish ideas and misplaced confidence. My husband looked just as confused. "Who said I'm going to hit her?" Mark's smile vanished. "I only said she handled it wrong. Honestly, she shouldn't have had to do anything. That's what I'm here for." My husband really knows how to annoy someone. Mark was speechless. Linda glared fiercely at me. "Did you really have to cause such a big drama?" "Make drama? By your logic, when your husband storms into my clinic acting like a maniac, I should just sit there, let him hit me, and then ask if his hand hurts. You think your problems are everyone else's fault?" My husband added, "Exactly. If you know he's crazy, keep him on a leash so he doesn't bite people. Getting rabies shots isn't fun, and I won't let my wife go through that." Linda looked purely hateful. "All right, Sarah. If you want drama, I can play too. You'll regret this." They say similar people stick together. Mark and Linda truly deserved each other. Seeing I wouldn't give in, she took her sad story online. During my pregnancy, tests showed the baby might have problems. My sister, who is a doctor, said it was probably nothing serious, so I had the baby. But he was born with bird face syndrome, grows slowly, gets sick easily, and isn't developing well. I asked my sister for answers, but she ran off with my mom. We never thought about giving up our child. We sold everything, even our house, for his medical care. Recently, my husband confronted my sister and she had him arrested. She's trying to destroy us. With some help from online groups, her fake sad story went viral. People were angry, supporting her against the selfish sister she described me as. Some users found my social media and shared it. My comments filled up with hate. Why didn't you tell your sister to end the pregnancy? If you knew there were problems, are you happy seeing her suffer? Bird face syndrome is genetic, right? Even if not family, shouldn't you have warned them? Look at her in fancy clothes, showing off her kids while her sister is struggling. Not helping is bad enough, but why push her down? How can such a cold person be a doctor? People flooded the hospital's website demanding I be fired. I was up for an important review at work. It became a huge online issue, and my boss gently suggested I take a break. A break really meant I was suspended. Linda heard about this and somehow found my home address, showing up with Leo. She had a smug look on her face. Write an apology for my husband. Find him a good job. Pay off the family of the kid Leo hurt. And then support us financially. Maybe then I'll tell people online you said sorry. Otherwise, you might get rotten food thrown at you in public. Mom was furious, ready to chase her away with a broom. I wish I'd left you on the street instead of taking you in. Linda didn't care. Too late now, right? No second chances, huh? Last life, I suggested an abortion. Her husband attacked me, costing my life and my babies. This time, I let her have the child, and now she's attacking me again, ruining my name. How is everything always my fault? Does she want to blame me for every bad thing? I had lost all hope for her. I let my mom push them out. She yelled curses at us as they left. That night, I posted everything I had online, all the proof, including the video from her visit today. Knowing her, I had recorded every interaction with them since the start of this new life. The hospital fights were on camera too. Once everything was public, opinions changed fast. I thought those two were clueless, but they knew everything. Yet they still tried to blame the doctor, sister? It's sad for the poor doctor who told the truth but got accused of ruining the kid's future. They made me see how easily people can be fooled. Wasn't it her husband who wanted the baby? Didn't she say she'd accept him, even if he was odd or slow? So, shouldn't the father take responsibility? Didn't you see? This woman is all about true love. From pregnancy to raising the child, she paid for everything. The husband just provided the seed. So, the fuss is just because the sister is doing well and they want her money. Ridiculous. The husband isn't dead. Why should the sister pay? Jealous because the sister's family is rich, happy, and has a healthy daughter? I have to admit, people online figured it out. At first, they felt sorry for Linda and even sent her money. Once I showed the truth, they were shocked they'd been tricked and started asking Linda for their money back. Linda's brief moment of attention didn't last long, and she went back to her difficult life. Not only that, but she also got called the new true love martyr online. She suddenly vanished from the internet and my life. I quickly got my promotion at work, and my husband got a raise too. Everything seemed to be improving. But I didn't expect Linda to stop focusing on me and start targeting my daughter. She somehow got a job as a cleaner at my daughter's kindergarten. She showed up with a utility knife and kidnapped my daughter, demanding to see me. When I saw the knife cut my daughter's soft skin, my heart broke. Linda, if you have a problem with me, come after me, not my child. Linda's face twisted into a crazy laugh. Why is your daughter active and healthy while my son looks like this, Sarah? It's your fault for not pushing me to end the pregnancy. Why did you send my husband to jail? Why, when things were finally looking better for me, did you expose everything? If you won't let me have a good life, then you won't either. I trembled, trying to stay calm. Linda, murder means prison. If you go to jail, what happens to your son? Hearing Leo's name didn't make Linda pause. His seizures are happening more often. The doctor says he's in pain. If everyone is suffering, let's all go together. A terrible feeling washed over me. My daughter cried out, "Mommy!" The more she cried, the more it hurt me, but I didn't dare move closer. I wasn't fast enough to save my daughter before Linda could use the knife. "Mama!" A small voice made Linda freeze. It was Leo. My husband was holding a pale-looking Leo who stuttered, "Mama!" Linda froze. I used that moment to grab the knife from her. Security quickly pinned her down. She looked towards Leo, mumbling, "Baby can say mama, baby can say mama." But before she could enjoy the moment, Leo threw up a mouthful of blood. "Baby!" she cried, wanting to hold Leo, but the police pulled her towards their car. She struggled uselessly, watching him get farther away. I never thought Linda could be so cruel as to put rat poison in her own son's food. Since medical help arrived fast, Leo's life was saved. My mom felt sorry for him and sent him back to his grandparents. I heard Leo often had seizures and had a bad temper, taking it out on his grandparents. When Mark got out of prison, he took Leo with him. What happened next was their own story. My daughter was very scared after the kidnapping, so I spent more time with her. Thankfully, she studied hard and always got top grades. Just before she started middle school, we heard from the prison that Linda had killed herself. She did it after learning that Mark and Leo had died. After taking Leo, Mark and Leo had a loving father-son relationship for a short time. That ended when Leo's seizures got worse and their money ran out. Needing constant care, Mark couldn't work. Both grandparents were too afraid to handle Leo. The stress got to Mark and he started drinking heavily. When drunk, he would beat Leo. When sober, he would hold him and cry, saying sorry. They hurt each other for years. Leo became more violent. Finally, after another night of drinking, Leo pushed Mark down the stairs during a fight. The impact sent Leo tumbling down too. Father and son both died. When we heard about their deaths, my mom cried, but I felt nothing. How Mark died was exactly like how I died in my past life. What goes around comes around. Linda demanded to see me as soon as she was revived after her attempt. When she saw me, her eyes filled with hate. "Sarah! Why didn't you help me end the pregnancy with Leo?" This didn't sound like the Linda from this life. Her next words proved it. "Did you know? Without Leo, I would have had twin sons later, smart and sweet. They worked hard and took care of me. I had a good life." She had come back too. So where was I then? Linda continued talking about her perfect past life until my question stopped her. "What do you mean? When you were living so well, where was I?" "Your helpful sister." Linda looked away, the hate replaced by worry and panic. I have no idea where you were." Huh. Even after living through such different lives, she hadn't realized I came back too. And she still tried to hide what happened before. Was she stupid or just tricky? "Let me tell you," I said flatly. "I died. Killed by your husband. All because I helped you with the abortion." Linda's tense face broke. Anger and madness filled her eyes again. "No wonder you came back too." Linda looked at me. "Are you happy now?" I shook my head. "In my past life, I tried my best to help you two avoid disaster, but you blamed me, and I ended up dead with my baby. In this life, I respected your choices and stayed out of it. I didn't expect you'd still mess up your life and blame me again. People can't have everything, right? I just let you choose the path you wanted in the past life. How you live is your choice. It has nothing to do with me." As I left, I heard Linda laughing and crying behind me. She cursed me, then cursed my mom, blaming Mom for not letting her die as a baby. "How much better it would have been," she cried. "She could have avoided a life of pain." What a strange twist. God let her be reborn with memories, but only after everything was already decided. Was it a chance for Linda or her punishment? After all, nothing hurts more than losing something after you've had it. That night, I had a dream. In the past life, after I died, There were no cameras, so they never found out who pushed me. And with Linda, my sister, saying I fell by accident, Mark got away with it completely. Just like she said, she really did have talented twin sons and lived happily. On the other hand, my husband was destroyed by my death. He lost his job, wandered around confused, and eventually became mentally ill and homeless. One day, while wandering, he saw Linda's family. She didn't recognize him and even pulled her kids away from him like he was dirty. He froze to death on a snowy night. Linda never thought about my mom after her life improved. My mom, having lost her real daughter and being abandoned by her adopted one, ended up alone in her old age. I woke up with tears on my face. I couldn't help but touch my husband's sleeping face. His warmth told me it wasn't a dream, and his snoring reminded me that none of that terrible past had happened this time. Thank goodness. Later, I heard Linda got out of prison but then disappeared. After the kidnapping incident, I signed my daughter up for self-defense classes, and she became quite skilled over the years. One day, she came home from school saying a crazy woman tried to grab her, but she handled it. I had a feeling it was Linda. I never expected her to be so persistent. Before I could do anything, my daughter came back and told me the crazy lady was picked up by a van with no license plates and driven suspiciously into an alley. Looks like someone took Linda. She attracts trouble. I didn't plan on saving her. After finishing college, my daughter became a doctor. She uses Linda's story to advise mothers whose unborn babies have problems, helping them make difficult choices and advocating for healthy births. It's a hard job, but she stuck with it. My husband and I took my mom traveling whenever we could. One day, passing through a small village, we saw a woman being beaten. My mom couldn't bear it and wanted to help. The woman seemed to recognize us, desperately trying to crawl towards us. But I pulled my mom away without looking back. Some people aren't worth saving. Her cries faded as we continued on our long journey, not stopping for those who don't deserve help.